Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
It's a wonderful day today.
Well, it's really kind of like stormy looking out there and like semi-smoky, and it's pretty wild out there. Do you know that the smoke from the wildfires are reaching Kansas?
Wow, that's a long ways.
Yeah, Kansas. So it's making for some amazing sunsets. But you know what? Before we get into this, because sometimes I forget to show pictures, I wanted to share with you a couple things. So this is in the area around Asheville, North Carolina. A friend of mine over there sent this to me and said, I'm stuck. The one road to get out of where she is, it collapsed. All the rain, perhaps some shaking going on, as there are still quakes going on after that quake in Sparta. That's pretty wild. I did feel it over there. The way the mountains are over there, it's very different than the West. It's all kind of closer in. And, they definitely get a lot more rain than the West does. So we've seen this all over the globe where these roads they just collapse because everything underneath it's getting destabilized and washed out.
So the extremes are like so extreme. It's like way too much water somewhere or way too much dryness somewhere else.
Yes, very much so. And so this, too, in our travels through 4 states, we've been on the road. We've been in California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and going through the area close to Vegas, there is a military base over there. We saw this, and there was about 100 of them, I would say, in total. And you guys tell me if you can make it out. That looks like a tank to me. There did seem to be, like I'd say, I don't know, close to 100 out there. And this is the best magnification that I could get. It felt like it was some sort of very large war game going on.
Yeah, it did. It felt like everybody had their little game pieces out somewhere. It just felt ominous.
So let me show you. I did a little video with you guys.
Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I swear these look like tanks out here in the desert. I got this on 3 times magnification. Hopefully we'll get a good visual. They really do look like tanks out there. I wonder if there's some sort of war game going on. Or what are they getting ready for? Today it's felt like ominous the whole time. We've been out on the road visiting family and came across this. Very curious. I hope this on a bigger screen will be able to be made out. As always, guys, thanks for your support at Ko-Fi and Patreon. God bless and namaste.
So, yeah, curious, because they extended for quite a while as we were driving. But it didn't look like anything was moving. It looked like they were parked there.
It really did look like they were parked there, but it felt weird, like it was a game on a game board.
Yeah, it reminds me of the game Risk, which I happened to buy one. It's like 30-year, or is it 60-year anniversary? I don't even know. But it's coming. Yay. It's coming. So, interesting. Weird stuff. So the wildfires are over 1 million acres now. And right now there's definitely storms that seem to be rolling into California and the potential for some lightning and high winds. So what we're getting from all the authorities is, it might actually get worse. So let's send our intention out there, and instead of just having a few late sprinkles with a lot of lightning, let's have very little or no lightning with a lot of sprinkles.
Yes, let's please do that.
So you see the LNU lightning complex, 131,000 hectares. Fire started on the 11th, 15% contained. The SCU, 138,000. Fire started on the 18th, 10% contained. And you got the river fire, 19,000. started on the 16th, 15% contained, and the Apple Fire is 95% contained right now, thankfully. But there's also wildfires going on in Colorado and in Arizona, as well as other places too. The West is really getting toasty, while we have perhaps 2 hurricanes coming to the east. And, that's another thing to be aware of, most definitely, as, what they were saying again every time. They say, oh, well, initially it's going to just be a tropical storm, maybe a Category 1. And then like 8 hours later, the weather guys are saying something totally different. So, yeah, these are some of the worst fires that we've seen. Now, a friend of mine sent me this photo and was saying, okay, is this the Galactics taking out dumbs?
Okay.
That sounds good? That would be really nice, and releasing a lot of people. That would be wonderful. But perhaps not. But you never know. You never know. I mean, your impression, Cindy?
It feels like a lot of plasma. I don't feel like it's taking anything out, though.
And as we see firefighters bracing for erratic winds, the wind is crazy today. And it does feel very, very ominous. So let's go first and take a peek at Marco, because Marco is going to hit first. So you see right now 75-mile-an-hour winds. It's north-northwest at 13 miles an hour with 991 millibars of pressure. As we see, it's taking aim at New Orleans. Weed me, better get yourself out of there.
Yes, watch out, Weed me, watch out.
So it looks like it's heading towards Louisiana. It could have some movement, but the models are looking pretty sure that it's going to be a Louisiana impact and then heading over into Texas. And this is going to probably be a 1-2 punch with Laura. So let's just take a look at the spaghetti models too before we jump over to Laura. So you see you have one over here that's going to go up Alabama, maybe Gulf Shores area, beautiful area, and then hook over around Atlanta, head over into South Carolina. But most of them are showing basically a Louisiana impact, or perhaps all the way over towards Houston. And again, it's not always about the wind. It's about the rain, and it's about accumulation of the rain. Water kills more people than earthquakes, tornadoes, you name it. So we have Tropical Storm Laura. As we see now, they're saying it could be a strong 2. And in this world, with everything that can be done technologically, with the Cold War going on between the U.S. and China, the amazing floods in China, we saw Hurricane Michael come in, and it went from like a tropical storm to a Category 4, and then they said, well, you know what, maybe that actually was a 5. And I've shared with you guys, I had 2 friends on the ground there that have seen a lot of hurricane damage, and they said this was the worst they've ever seen. They said it looked like Hiroshima. So that rapid intensification, which, we could say it's going to be due to the warmer waters and the climate change, which now, you're seeing all the mainstream climatologists coming out and blaming everything on man-made climate change, when we know, there's a lot more to it than just that. So this one seems to be taking aim anywhere between, again, Houston and maybe New Orleans area. So Louisiana, Texas, be ready. It could end up going up and going through Arkansas as well, so be aware up there in the Ozark area. Could be a lot of water right after, a big drencher.
It really could, and it just keeps going on, and it makes you wonder, when is it going to slow down?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? Another decade?
I really feel like there's going to be a pinnacle of some time in a couple of years.
Yeah, when we looked at Deagle.com and that 2025 figure, pretty ominous, pretty scary. There's so many things going on right now at the same time as we look at the spaghetti models, which are in fairly good agreement. So be aware, all our friends over there in Louisiana and in Texas, and we do have some. I have a cousin over in Louisiana. So Laura is now located over eastern Cuba, heavy rains over that area, Haiti and Jamaica. And we're going to watch closely what happens tomorrow. Here we take a look at an extraordinary sight as you see those 2 storms heading towards that same area.
And I think it's kind of beautiful, really.
Yeah, nature can be beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Obviously, coastal flooding possible, as well as storm surge. And of course, it's definitely a lower lying area. So let's see if we get this to reload here. There we go. And we see, we're not alone in this, as we've been saying. The flooding in Turkey is crazy right now. 15 people dead or missing over in Turkey. And, we were just looking at Asheville, North Carolina area. And, we see on the other side of the globe, you got very similar things happening. Whole houses washed away. It's just amazing the changes that are going on. And if there is still a lot of ramp up to go, guys, hang on tight. Typhoon Bavi moving towards the Korean peninsula. And we're going to take a peek at something else having to do with Korea in a second. So this one formed north of the Philippines on the 21st as the 8th named storm of the 2020 Pacific Typhoon system. And conditions were favorable for rapid strengthening, and it became a severe tropical storm. And so the storm had maximum winds of 65 miles an hour. And it's really, again, it hasn't been about the winds, it's been about the water. As we see, China's still just ongoing. The floods have not stopped in China or India or so many other areas as well. And talking about not stopping, ever since we had that quake up in Idaho, there's just regular, consistent activity going on still in that same spot. There's only 5 there right now. And we know they don't show a lot of the ones that we're actually getting over towards Yellowstone. I know a lot of people out there follow Mary Greeley as well as this channel, and she keeps a good eye on that. We have a couple over here around Juan de Fuca and Cascadia. We have some swarming going on at the geysers, as we see 21 in the picture right now. You still got swarming going on west of Tonopah. We're looking at 54 there, over towards Mono Lake and down into the caldera at Long Valley. And of course, we still have quakes going on at Ridgecrest. So what was that? A lot of people think that was actually China that did that. And it's tit for tat. And also some believe that it's, again, deep underground military bases. So yet again, the leader of North Korea is supposedly sick, ill, or dead, or just about dead. This is saying he's in a coma. His sister's set to take control. And Cindy gets a vibe off of his sister.
Oh, she is ice cold.
Yeah, she's got that look like if she had a sword in her hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she does have that look. And we see tens of thousands of people rallying in Belarus against the, I guess they would call him the president over there, Alexander Lukashenko. And they, of course, there's a waking up going on across the globe. People are not happy with the status quo. And it doesn't matter where you're at.
No, it doesn't matter where you're at, because we are all, as a collective, raising our vibration and becoming more aware.
So, whether you're in a communist country, whether you're in a socialist country, supposed democracy, whatever it's in, unless you're looking at like a North Korea situation where, they don't seem to protest because I think they're too terrified to protest still. But a lot of people are they're just protesting because they know something is wrong in this world. The world system is wrong. As we, constantly are preparing for more and more wars. Wars that just simply, well, they don't do anything for humanity. It's an obvious corporate situation. It's about profits. It's about control. It's about greed. And thankfully, people are waking up. We just have to get it all directed in a constructive way. So we have 10 terrifying truths about long-term blackouts, and some things you might not think about, like you might not think about the sewage problem. Can become a problem, most definitely. Trash will be everywhere. If you did have say a grid down, CME or EMP, and we already got so much disruption with the whole CV issue right now. It's gonna, and the trash everywhere leads to more rats, which leads to more dis-ease. It all kind of mounts up. No more online banking. A lot of people are trying to sock away some cash somewhere, but yet the move towards digital currency is just speeding along.
Yeah, there's signs up all over. Sorry, we don't have any more change. Use exact change. It's all over the place now.
Gun confiscation could be a possibility. That's happened in other places. It actually happened after Hurricane Katrina, so you might get a knock, 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 and they want to check things out.
A friend of mine told me to get some PVC pipe, big PVC pipe, and have a place to put those guns in there and then bury them.
Yeah, in a location off property. Yes. Somewhere where nobody's going to know that they're there but you, if you did need to get them. Because it's obviously pretty dangerous out there. I mean, we've seen in certain places, Portland, Seattle, and Minnesota, and in California, people just getting, like, they come down to a stop sign, all of a sudden their car is swarmed by a bunch of people and they're getting pulled out.
It's just absolutely terrible.
No internet or cell service, that's a given. And, many people, I think, are waking up to how things are going to be tracked. They're going to be tracked like they are in China through your phone. Maybe it's time to ditch the smartphones, guys. Yeah. Go get yourself a cheap little track phone or something that it's not going to be as easily traceable, because obviously the all-seeing eye is big time upon us now.
It is. Track phone, I think, is the way to go.
No more electricity, obviously, and if you have generators, will you be able to get fuel? That's why I like a generator that can run off of propane or gas. And if you are one of the lucky people that has like a 300-gallon or better propane tank, at least you'll be good for a while.
Well, you will. Those are these things where you got to think about having more than one way to get something. Wood-burning
stoves, too, keeping you warm. Obviously, food be an issue over time. Same thing with water and just the general craziness of the scenario. So we have to be aware of that. So how to properly store potatoes for year-round use. Many people probably know, you want to keep them in a cool, dark place.
Yeah, that's, when I was younger, we had this cave on our property. We kept a lot of stuff in that cave. It was interesting.
So, potatoes are a staple for so many people as well, and they can be pretty easy to grow. And, you get some that have gotten the eyes growing in them, and you just, you could quarter them. And plant them separately. We had some potatoes going as well, but you definitely want to keep them out of the sunlight. Potatoes have substance in them too. And by the way, they recommend you don't put them in the fridge. There's a substance called solanine that's in potatoes that is toxic, so you want to be aware of it. It can make things taste bitter, can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. It occurs naturally in many plants as a defense mechanism from insects and animals. It can be found in all parts of the potato plant. So, you don't want to eat them when they're rotting, obviously, and people get desperate when, unfortunately, like it hit me when I was in Sarasota. I couldn't believe the homelessness problem there, but when you think about it, pretty much 85, 90 for a high, and it doesn't really get too much hotter. And then overnight lows hardly go below 50. So if you're going to be homeless, it's not a bad place to be homeless. But then seeing them dumpster diving and eating anything. And when you think about it, if we ever got into that situation when the masses were desperate for food, you want to be aware. So they're doing a study on Tai Chi for coronavirus disease and seeing if it could help with, speeding up the recovery. And, of course, any of these mindful exercises could. QiGong, Tai Chi, yoga, as well as just mindfulness meditation. And here we see learning not to fear. Mindfulness meditation training alters how we process fearful memories, so says studies. Study after study has shown that we can change the way our brain works. It's just a matter of repetition and consistency. And we could shift ourselves into different patterns. We can actually create new neural pathways. Our brains have a plasticity to them. And so we can get rid of bad habits and we could reprogram ourselves. And that's so key in these times.
One of the tricks that I'm learning now is to think of something that I want to coddle, like, a kitty or a dog, or have that feeling of loving something. And then you want to hold that feeling for a couple of minutes, and that actually helps with brain plasticity.
Very cool. So I want to thank everybody for your support on Patreon or also on Ko-Fi, and invite everybody to come over and check out the website, evolutionaryenergyarts.com. We thank you guys for being part of the family. Stay prepared out there. We love you. God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.